the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Back. This is the moment, tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over, so we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling.
Hello everyone, Storm here, and today I'm going to be discussing some more Dragon Ball power scaling. It's been a bit since I've done a video like this, but I enjoy making them all the same. The topic of this video is going to be how strong Gohan gets throughout the Dragon Ball Super anime. Now, no matter what point in time you take, the discussion around Gohan's power is always controversial in some way, but I'd like to focus more on Super for this one. The purpose of this video is to clear up any misconceptions people have about Gohan's strength in Super, because there are quite a few. It will also serve as a dive into the power of the guys Gohan interacts with throughout the show, so characters like Togama, Lavender, and Piccolo, all with their own controversies, mainly Togama. But before we begin, if you disagree with any of the statements in this video, feel free to join my Discord and come discuss or debate with me on them, as I love talking and arguing with people, and I'd much rather have a proper back and forth than send paragraphs arguing in the comments section. So I'm not going to respond, big dog, if you make a big comment. It's just not a fun way to talk about things, and it just doesn't get anything done. We're going to be arguing back and forth for like months. Or even if you just have some clarifications that you need, you can just join my Discord. I'll explain it to you. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. But anyway, the link to my Discord is going to be in the description of this video if you're interested, and probably in the comment section as well. So we're going to begin with the first saga of the anime, which is the Beerus saga. The level of power Gohan displays here is kind of unclear, as the only thing he does is charge Beerus in his ultimate form and then get smacked. But based on the fact that he hasn't been training, and the next arc implies that his strength has been diminishing rapidly, it can be assumed that he's a bit weaker than his Buu arc self. This part is pretty self-explanatory, so let's move on to the more interesting parts. Next for Gohan is the Golden Frieza saga, where we're going to be spending a lot of time on this video. We see just how much weaker he has gotten since the last time we saw him in action. We know he almost definitely hasn't gained any strength. We hear that he's slacked on his training, and he's also unable to use his ultimate form and can barely muster Super Saiyan 2, nearly killing himself by powering up. So please tell me why on earth people think Togama is stronger than Ultimate Gohan from the Buu arc. Just kidding. I know why. But let me explain why that makes no sense. So we hear Gohan say that Togama might be hiding power that is around the same level as him at his best. So you hear this and you think, huh, well, his best is when he fought Super Buu because he's gotten weaker since then. And okay, that's a fair assumption at face value. So let's go ahead and go over what happens with Togama when they actually fight. Togama easily toys with Piccolo by just ripping off his arm and laughing, but that's not exactly impressive because you can't properly scale how strong Piccolo is at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and do a tangent and just talk about how strong Piccolo is so we can get that out of the way. This is because the last time we actually knew how strong Piccolo was in the Buu arc. In the Daizenshuu, it was stated that Piccolo was weaker than the Supreme Kai during their confrontation in the Buu saga. And in El Manga Legendario, the Supreme Kai is said to be around the power of Goku from the Cell games. If we're nice and we say Super Saiyan Goku, which we probably should, that means Piccolo in the Buu arc is weaker than Super Saiyan Grade 4 Goku from the Cell games. Now, he's likely stronger against Togama than he was before, since he's always training, but that does mean that with Piccolo training 7 years doing pretty much nothing else, still wasn't able to surpass Cell Games Goku. And that sucks for Piccolo. Honestly, he got done dirty, and all the potential he had before was like pretty high. Like every boost he gets is really big up until this point. But I can't lie about this just because I like him. And you might be thinking, well, that's Buu Saga Piccolo, surely he's gotten stronger since then. And yeah, that's true, but if after 7 years of training he couldn't even be equal to Cell Games Goku, I doubt he's anything impressive by the time of his fight with Togama. Because it wasn't like he was phenomenally behind everyone in the Cell arc and he got a really big boost but just still couldn't catch up because there was such a big gap. He was out there fighting the Cell Juniors with Vegeta and Trunks. Like, bro was up there in power, not as strong as them, but still in there. So the fact that he got such a small boost is just so sad. So that's why Togama beating Piccolo isn't really that good of a feat. The next thing Togama does is get hit by Super Saiyan Gotenks, but that doesn't really count since he was off guard and not going all out at the time. And being off guard is shown many times throughout the series to drastically nerf you, so it would happen here as well. So while saying a rusty Gotenks one-shotted Togama would definitely look better for my argument on why he's weaker than Ultimate Gohan, I've got to stick to the facts for you guys. I'm not gonna take that just because it's a dub. However, it is to be noted that even though Gotenks off-guarded Togama, he was able to get back up as Ginyu shortly after with no real damage. And this trend will continue quite a few times actually. But anyway, Togama goes on to beat up all the Z fighters, but most of them are unimpressive. The only notable one is Base Gohan, who he has a 1v1 with right after anyway. So Gohan in Base is able to tank hits from Ginyu Togama while he's using his full power, and then he goes Super Saiyan and beats him pretty quick. But once again, it is nice to note that while he was incapacitated, Ginyu Togama gets back up shortly after with no sign of damage, and he's ready to fight Vegeta for Frieza. With all of that said, it seems pretty clear that Gohan stating he's hiding power comparable to me at my best probably refers to his current best being Super Saiyan. This would line up with Togama being able to take hits from Super Saiyan Gohan and get up with no real faults. While he may be weaker than Gohan here, he is likely in a similar tier of power, just on the lower end. Either that or Togama's body is really durable and bro is just fodder otherwise. But for the next bit, I want to talk about a few counter arguments against what I'm saying just so we can cover all bases. Now, I've seen a few different translations of the statement Gohan makes, with two of them saying what I've repeated in this video, just implying that Togama hides power comparable to Gohan at his best. But there is one translation that says when I was at my best, which more heavily implies Ultimate Gohan, because it's referring in the past tense. But I think we should look at the ones that have more consistency with each other. So if there's only one that says that, we should probably take the other two. Next is that because Gohan nearly died and ate a Senzu Bean to heal, he got a Zenkai. This would explain why he was so weak before, but can then fight a guy stronger than Ultimate Gohan right after. The idea is that the Zenkai was pretty massive. And while this is certainly a possible answer, I have my doubts. First, it doesn't seem like Zenkais are really that prominent anymore in the series after Namek. And before someone says, but what about Goku Black? I want to emphasize that the power boosts Goku Black and other characters in Super receive are mainly adapting boosts, not Zenkais. A Zenkai, by the way, is not even a real term in Dragon Ball, except like in the games, but they refer to when a Saiyan is nearly killed and healed, giving them a boost in power. But what Goku Black does is get beat up and then gain strength during the battle. Goku and Vegeta also do this in the Black Arc and the Tournament of Power many times as well. They almost never get nearly killed, healed, and then get a boost anymore. It's always while they're fighting. And even other characters besides Saiyans do this as well, so that's why Zenkais really aren't that prevalent anymore. We haven't seen a big boost like that literally since Goku on Namek, which was the biggest one. And if it were the case that Saiyans were still getting Zenkais, we would see characters like future Gohan, who was constantly fighting to the edge of death throughout years of fighting the androids. We would have seen him get a lot stronger. We would have probably seen future Trunks get a massive amp in power every time he got beat up by the androids, and then etc. I could probably keep going with these examples, but they just really don't happen anymore. The next reason why I doubt Gohan got such a boost is because no one really mentions any significant jump for him. Now, this isn't a super strong point on its own, as characters can get stronger without people mentioning it, and some of my takes on other things actually align with that. But when put up against another likely option of Gohan not getting stronger and Togama just not being all that strong in general, it comes into question a bit more. Because now we're not just trying to prove this case, we're trying to prove that it's stronger than the other case. There are like half a dozen people there who would be able to tell if Gohan got stronger, but no one says anything. Piccolo, Roshi, Krillin, Tenshinhan all can sense ki. Jaco has really good eyes, so he'd be able to tell if Gohan started moving faster and stuff, and Frieza and Ginyu Togama likely know how to sense ki by this point. Not to mention, Gohan himself would likely notice his own massive jump in power if he's comparing Togama to a previous version of himself. But in fact, Gohan even mentions that he still can't use his full power against Ginyu Togama. And once again, we're going to go into multiple interpretations to this just to be as charitable as possible. This statement could possibly be referring to his ultimate form, but I just don't see it. In order to make all of this work, we have to interpret things very specifically and go off of unlikely scenarios. When you could instead just say Gohan was referring to his current best and Togama compares to that. It's just a much more simple conclusion than having to go through all of these mental gymnastics. In order to make this whole Zenkai argument work, you have to first say that Gohan gets a Zenkai, which is very unlikely. Then you have to say that the Zenkai is really big, which is even less likely. And then you have to take Gohan's statement of not being able to bring out his full power as referring to ultimate when it could easily be referring to his normal full power. Both interpretations there are valid, but it's like 3 layers deep into trying to make this interpretation work versus me just saying the original statement doesn't refer to Ultimate Gohan and then boom. And then there's no reason for Gohan to get a Zenkai at all because Togama is just not that strong. Like, it's like, yeah, the level of assumptions here are just not on the same level. But anyway, that's why I don't think Togama is as strong as Ultimate Gohan, which means Gohan at this point is still not as strong as his previous self yet, which also supports the narrative, by the way, because after being embarrassed by Frieza and causing the death of Piccolo, our man Gohan decides to pick up his training once more and actually build himself up back to being as strong as he was before. Wink wink nudge nudge kinda implies he wasn't as strong. We see him training with Piccolo during the Universe 6 saga, so he's clearly trying to make up for his slacking previously. The next time we see Gohan is in the Black arc with him getting some ice cream with future Trunks. And for some reason, people think that this scene means Gohan stopped training again, but that's just not the implication at all. It just means Gohan only trains in his off time, which is already what was implied, as the only reason he denied going to the Universe 6 tournament was because of his job. Like, bro needs money, so he's clearly not going to be training all the time. I don't know what you guys expected. We see Gohan fight again after the Black Arc, where he actually gets a really impressive feat. So Goku is searching for someone to spar with in order to keep himself in shape, as he doesn't want to train alone for too long. Seeing this, Gohan puts on the Great Saiyaman outfit and begins scrapping with Goku. He tells his father not to hold back, and Goku replies, "In that case," and charges in. So Goku's already wanting a good fight, and Gohan doesn't want him to hold back. Interesting to note. After they battle a little bit, they both compliment each other on their strength, and Gohan says that Goku is holding back still. To which Goku responds with, "I was just testing you. Now let's do this," before powering up into Super Saiyan. So him saying that he was testing Gohan before, and that now they're gonna quote-unquote do this, is a big implication that he's gonna hold back less, especially because Gohan has stated that he wants him at full power. Goku and Gohan begin fighting as Super Saiyans, being almost evenly matched. After they destroy the field and get stopped by Chi-Chi, they both compliment each other on their power once again, and Gohan also doesn't mention that Goku is still holding back, even though he was able to say it before. And it would be weird for Goku to continue suppressing himself after implying that he was going to use more power anyway. And it might sound crazy that Gohan could be comparable to a Goku who has gone through massive power-ups multiple times, but you've got to remember that Gohan has been training since the Golden Frieza saga. And by this point, it's been just about a year since then, based on how the Dragon Balls have been used. They were used in the Universe 6 saga and multiple times after the Black Arc as well. And if Gohan has been training for about a year with his insane potential and taking into account the heights of power he would later reach before the Tournament of Power, this doesn't seem as improbable as before. Even if you're not completely convinced just yet, I'm gonna come back to this point later, so just sit tight. And before someone tries to imply that this scene is filler and just doesn't count for some reason, the Dragon Ball Super anime is entirely separate almost from the Dragon Ball Super manga, besides plot beats and like certain things like the Broly movie remaining intact. So anything that's quote-unquote filler isn't even really filler because Dragon Ball Super came first. The anime was first. So they're not really basing these things off of anything besides Toriyama's own plot points. So like you can say this scene is filler because it's not in the manga, but then is all of Dragon Ball Super's anime filler because it's not in the manga? Like they're two different continuities. So like applying the term filler really doesn't matter unless you're talking about it strictly in a story sense. Like yeah, this scene doesn't really add much to the story, but it does provide quite a bit of insight to Gohan's power. So just saying that it doesn't count because it's not part of a main arc is just a stupid point. I don't get how that makes any sense at all when there's no such thing really as filler in Super anime because they're not comparing it to the manga. The anime came first. I'm stumbling over my words here because like this is baffling that that's even an argument. But anyway, later on, Zeno requests an exhibition match to prep for the Tournament of Power between Universe 7 and 9. Gohan is included in this match fighting Lavender. During this little mini arc, Gohan is determined to impress his father with his strength, saying that he's gotten stronger than before, once again implying that he has been training. And Goku even notes during the battle and after the battle that Gohan is really strong, kind of confirming what Gohan said about being stronger than before. And if Gohan was previously able to match Goku after the Black Arc, it means this Gohan is even stronger than that, which again should not surprise anyone given Gohan's insane potential. And if you don't believe that, there's some promotional material that blatantly says Gohan is stronger than ever. It does say it's his ultimate form, but it's in quotations because it doesn't mean the form itself. It's kind of referencing it. It's saying Gohan is now at his peak. So his ultimate form in the metaphorical sense. Gohan wouldn't go on to unlock the ultimate form until after the exhibition match, so it just can't be. Most Dragon Ball material doesn't refer to Gohan's transformation as ultimate anyway. And Gohan literally spends time after trying to get the ultimate form back, so it's clearly not referring to that. So there's character statements from Goku and Gohan, and a guide saying Gohan is stronger than ever, making it pretty concrete. But wait, how strong is Lavender then? Most people lump all three of the Trio de Dangers into the Majin Buu tiers of power, but this is just not the case. The only one who really falls into that category is Basil, who was beaten up by a good Buu who's holding back and he literally needs drugs to amp him. That guy is definitely in that weaker Buu tier. But Lavender, not so much, and definitely not Bergamo. Lavender is able to battle against Gohan, who is now stronger than ever, confirmed, and has also been shown to match Goku after the Goku Black Arc. And this is before he even poisons Gohan as well, so Lavender should scale well above the early Black Arc characters, which is honestly a dub. And as for Bergamo, since he's here, he is capable of battling base Goku even before absorbing his power, so he is definitely not Majin Buu tier. And this is a Goku who, keep in mind, is at advised against holding back, or else Zeno is just gonna kill everybody now. So if you want to argue he's holding back, you're kind of in a tough position there. So now the only weird part is that the gap between the trio de dangers is kind of weird, because Goku's obviously stronger than he was when he battled Gohan before, and he's kind of just implied to just be the strongest he's ever been. And if Goku's like the ringleader, he's probably stronger than Gohan still. So like Bergamo is now stronger than Lavender by quite a bit. Then we look at the gap between Lavender and Basil, and like I said, Basil's getting farted on by Majin Buu while Lavender's fighting a post-Black Art Gohan. It's just not good when it comes to like how big the gaps are, but overall I don't think that like debunks everything, because there's nothing even saying, I don't think, that these guys train together, and even if they do, maybe one of them just has like terrible potential, I don't know. But yeah, sorry Basil, you're basically the Chaozu of this group. After this, Gohan goes to Piccolo to train more in order to work on his arrogance and unlock Ultimate once again. Piccolo actually beats up Super Saiyan 2 Gohan here, which shows that he has grown in power significantly, which just happens with pretty much every Dragon Ball Super character in this arc. This is probably because he's been sparring with Gohan occasionally, who's been growing at a rapid rate, making him get even stronger as well. And this would kind of imply something about Piccolo's training that I think patches up some of the holes. When he's training with other people, namely Gohan, sometimes Goku, he gets like big amps like in the Android arc and the Saiyan arc and here, but then when he's training alone, it's just nothing, as shown in the 7 years in the Buu arc. And plus, as I said earlier, Dragon Ball Super just makes characters grow crazy degrees of strength in order to keep them relevant. So Piccolo finally got the amp he deserved here. A bit late, but whatever. Anyway, Gohan is able to reawaken his ultimate form after doing this training with Piccolo, and he also grows in power quite a bit. So before, Gohan was stronger than a post-Black Art Goku, base to base. But now, Ultimate Gohan is able to match Blue Goku pre-Tournament of Power. And yes, it's true. Gohan is begging Goku to go full power. Goku agrees. The narrator even says Gohan's power rivals Goku's. So no, Goku was not suppressed here at all. And we know the multiplier of Super Saiyan Blue should be a really high boost compared to Ultimate, which is around the Super Saiyan 2 or 3 tier. So unless Ultimate got a major amp, that means base Gohan should be above base Goku at this point too. This is because if Gohan with a smaller multiplier can match Goku with a bigger multiplier, it must mean that Gohan's initial starting power is just higher than Goku's. Piccolo also scales to this level of base Gohan after the training as well, because they both fight the same opponents and do just as well pretty much. So like base Gohan and Piccolo fight Rubalt and Obani in the Tournament of Power, and they both keep up. Gohan does use Ultimate against Obani, but that's only after he uses his after image hacks. They also fight Saunel and Purina in base and do just about the same there. That is until Saunel and Purina get their Resolve amp due to the Namekians they fused with, which allows them to fight Ultimate Gohan and kind of ignore Piccolo. Like Gohan had to defend Piccolo from them way more after they got amped, and the only time Piccolo was able to harm any of them was with the Special Beam Cannon. So just more scaling for why base Gohan and Piccolo are relevant. And then for more proof that Gohan is blue tier, he's able to fight Super Maximum Light Speed Mode Dispo, who is comparable to Golden Frieza, who matches Blue Goku previously. He's also confident he can kill Frieza if he tries anything, while knowing just how strong he is. Gohan fights against some of Universe 3's robots, who are capable of giving Blue Vegeta and Blue Goku some trouble. It's to be noted that Goku is fatigued here, but he has grown tons by this point due to his fights with Jiren and Kefla. So a relatively fresh Blue Vegeta and Ultimate Gohan fighting with him, it seems like Goku's strength gains and stamina loss kind of even out during this fight. Because Goku's not getting bodied, he's still keeping up with these two. This is also shown when they're battling Anilaza, where we get 5 blue tier fighters all surviving against Anilaza, and none of them really faltering when they do a beam clash. Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, and 17 are all confirmed in this blue tier of power, so it would be really weird if Gohan's doing all the same feats as them and is still keeping up with these level of opponents when he's way weaker. It just doesn't make any sense. People complain so much about how Gohan was able to get so strong that he's blue tier in like 2 days, but they neglect the fact that he shows this crazy strength multiple times in Super. He's been training since the Golden Frieza saga, and his gains have only been growing as the series goes on. And like I said, when he fights Goku after the Black Arc, and when he fights Lavender, he's shown and stated to be stronger than before. So wouldn't it make more sense if like we're gonna say that maybe his power growth was like spread out across the series rather than just in those 2 days? And if you don't think Gohan can get that strong that fast to the point where he's fighting Goku base to base and Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan, or where he's stronger than ever by the time he fights Lavender, well, just keep in mind that the alternative is Gohan got all that strong and more in 2 days and matched Blue Goku. So it's like, do you want to stretch this power growth across the series where they actually show it happening? Or do you just want to say, oh, there's no way he's that strong, and then say that he got all that stronger in 2 days? It just really doesn't make any sense. There's the clear solution there. Like, you're not going to discredit Gohan's growth and then say that he grows that strong in 2 days anyway. It just doesn't make any sense. And for those who still disagree with the feats I presented previously, what makes more sense to you? Gohan training for over a year and getting big buffs because of it throughout the entire time, or Gohan training for over a year, not getting any real significant gains until 2 days before the Tournament of Power. The choice should be pretty clear, guys. But with that being said, I think I've gone over pretty much all there is to be said about Gohan in the Dragon Ball Super anime. And I think all my points here hold up pretty strongly to show that people's misconceptions about Gohan
take it back. You know time crawls on when you're waiting for the song to start, so dance with your heart. Hey, young blood, doesn't it feel like our time is running out? I'm gonna change you like a remix, then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Wearing a vintage misery. No, I think it looked a little better on me. I'm gonna change you like a remix, then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Bring home the boys and scrap metal to tanks. Get hitched, make a career out of robbing banks, because the world is just a teller and we are wearing black masks. So rock our spirits and the note we pass. We can take the world back from a heart attack. One maniac at a time, we will take it back. You know time